Hey everybody, I hope you're all having a wonderful new year, a great kickoff to your 2018. I've been back up in Washington, D.C. this week after spending some absolutely amazing time with my family back home. My wife Brianna, my children Magnum, Maverick, and Madeline enjoying Christmas at home, getting to be back to work in the district offices, meeting with people, visiting businesses, hearing what people think about the legislation going on, tax reform, tax cuts, all the things that have been going on up here. It was a great, much needed time back in the district, and so it was good to see all of you back around home. This week we were back to work up here in Washington, right where we left off in 2017. And I always tell folks, you know, since coming to Washington, coming to Congress, my #1 casework request has been helping veterans at the Department of Veterans Affairs at our VA Medical Center. I've been through it myself, you know, unfortunately, and so I understand what a lot of our veterans have gone through as they struggle with different things that go on with the VA, with their health care, with their not just their medical benefits, but their education benefits. Working their way through that system can be a very trying system to work its way through. That's why I've made it my priority to enhance the efficiency and the accountability within the VA system. This is something that we work at daily. This week we did something that nobody has ever been able to do before. I've been talking about it for a long time now, how we were wanting to bring to fruition that we could open up a congressional office within the West Palm Beach VA Medical Center, and that has officially come to fruition. I firmly believe you know, that in order to address the issues, any issue, you have to be present to witness those issues. That's something important. If you want to understand the issue, you have to be able to be there and see it with your own 2 eyes. And this new office it's going to make it able for us to both see the positive that happens within the VA and make sure that those positive things that are happening day in and day out, that they can be replicated, not just each day at our VA, but we can take those things back up here to Washington, D.C., share them with the other representatives to make sure those things are replicated within their VA medical centers, but also that I get to see and my staff gets to see any of the negative that goes on over there. You know, we get to see what's happening there. If we're walking past the same things every day, if we're hearing the same things from people as we're walking through the lobby there, headed to the office. So we get to make sure that those problems that exist there, that they never happen again, that we get to light a fire under somebody when we see something negative happen. And this is exactly why we've been working to get that office into the VA Medical Center. This is something that has also been very bipartisan, which is something that's always outstanding when you can work together in that way. We're going to be sharing that office space with Representatives Frankel, Deutsch, and Hastings, who all have veterans that are also seen within the West Palm Beach VA Medical Center. So whether somebody lives within the 18th district or another district and they're veterans and they're seen within the VA Medical Center, they're going to be able to go into that VA Medical Center and see their congressional representative. So myself or my staff will be at that office within the VA Medical Center on Mondays from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. That's the office hours that they allotted us to have within the building there. The office will be staffed by Representative Frankel on Tuesdays from 10 to 2. I believe Representative Deutsch will be there on the first Wednesday of the month from 10 to 2, and Representative Hastings is going to be there on Thursday from 10 to 2. That's kind of the trial program that they allotted us to have in order to go out there and have those office hours there, and we're going to see how that works out and then see how we can advance that program given the positives and negatives that come out of being there for those hours. So you can, if you want to, you can call ahead to schedule an appointment. If you're a veteran, you can call ahead to schedule an appointment at 202-329-1211. We're also going to be taking walk-ins on a first-come, first-served basis. This is if you want to have a meeting with me on the day that I am there at the West Palm Beach VA Medical Center. That's not where you would call if you want to have a meeting with one of the other representatives because they're your representative and you live in some other district. That's the number that you call if you want to meet with me and set up an appointment with my office. Of course, veterans, they can also receive assistance at any of our other VA, or not VA offices, any of our other district offices at any time that you want. You can come see us in North Palm Beach. You can come see us in Stewart. You can come see us in Port St. Lucie. We're taking office hours there. every single day of the week. They're all full-time staffed, so hopefully if you have any issues, you can always have the opportunity to bring those issues to us. You know, this has been a year in the making, and I think it's a major move of progress to having more efficient, more accountable VA and making sure that our veterans are not forgotten. And that's one of my biggest priorities. When I look at the 60,000 veterans that are seen within our VA, and they have close to 1 million appointments throughout each and every calendar year, the bulk of those veterans coming from our Vietnam War, a great number of those veterans still coming from Korea and World War II, and then of course veterans coming from the time that I served in the military, Iraq, Afghanistan, a little bit before that, the Gulf War, and other places like Panama, Kosovo, Bosnia, Grenada, things like that. I don't want you to ever be forgotten. You're always a group that's on my heart, you're on my mind. I'm always thinking about what is it that we can do to better the quality of your life, to make sure that anything that's going on within the VA treats you as though you're the most important person that ever walked into the Department of Veterans Affairs every single time that you walk in. That is my goal, that's how you come away feeling. And that's why I want to make sure that we're there present to hear anything that you have to say about what's going on in the VA. So I hope this helps get you to that point where you feel like you're thought about, you feel like you're cared for, you feel like somebody's listening. Because that is absolutely the goal of finding the path to have this space within the VA. Now, if you have any feedback, of course, don't hesitate to give us a comment on this video or call our offices, as I already mentioned. Shifting gears a little bit, as you know, one of my top regional priorities has been fixing our water issues, preserving our natural resource here in Florida, and I am very proud to say that in the past year, we have set the stage for fixing our local water issues, improving our water quality with not just very robust funding. We voted to pass more than $200 million in funding towards that local water infrastructure. This year, we'll be tackling something that's very important to our district. It's known as the Water Resources and Development Act. This is a bill that comes up every couple years. It's known as WRDA, that's WRDA, that's what it's known as. And in this bill, it's a bill where we can address many of the major water challenges in our area. When I came to Washington, I very specifically asked to be placed on the Committee of Transportation and Infrastructure. The reason that I asked to be placed on the Committee of Transportation and Infrastructure is because it is that committee that has jurisdiction over all of the things that have to do with our waterways, with Lake Okeechobee, with our coastal estuaries, with anything else going on with our water issues. I asked to be placed on that committee, and I asked to be placed on the subcommittee of Water Resources of an Environment, of Coast Guard and Maritime, because those subcommittees are exactly where we handle those water issues. So that subcommittee, Water Resources and Environment, that is where we write that WRDA bill, that Water Resources and Development Act. I am the vice chair of that committee, and so you can believe that I am going to be doing every single thing that I can throughout the rest of this year to get all of the needed amendments and bills within that larger bill to work towards the clean water and the completion of our projects in our area. That is why I asked to be there, and that's what I'm going to be working on. So I probably have at least 16 bills that I'm looking to get in place within that Water Resources and Development Act throughout this year that all have to do with our local waterways. So there's a lot of work that's going to be going on there throughout the rest of this year. I just want to prepare you for that. Now, this past week, we were confronted with a slightly different challenge. As you may have heard, the Department of the Interior announced their intention to open up drilling for oil and gas off of our coasts, the coasts of Florida specifically, last week. I've long been opposed to drilling off the coast of Florida. Like I tell people, there's not one moment that I'm going to stand for a Deepwater Horizons rig off the coast of Jensen Beach or Fort Pierce Beach or off Palm Beach or any of our other coastlines there. I'm not going to stand for it. I've stood against it. I've had the opportunity to speak with Secretary of the Interior, Secretary Zinke, on numerous occasions. Whenever he comes down to Florida, I make it a point to be there on the ground wherever he is, and I talk to him about this issue. issue, which I believe puts our Florida economy, our environment, our marine life at very large risk, and quite frankly, would be a major step backward for all of the progress that we've made in the past year in keeping our coasts in Florida clean and safe. This is an issue that I've also been speaking with the administration about. I've been working on it in Congress, including a bipartisan bill called the Marine Oil Spill and Prevention Act, which would extend that drilling moratorium around Florida. I've been working on that one for a number of months. And literally over the past week, I've also spoke with Secretary Zinke in response to this. I got on the phone with him and I spoke to him about it. He has heard the bipartisan chorus from Florida. And when I spoke to him personally and talked to him about his meeting also with Governor Rick Scott and him hearing from all of the millions of Floridians opposed to this drilling, he realized that we spoke in a united voice and that we delivered the result with the Department of the Interior. And so as a result, they announced that they will not be including Florida in their proposal. We succeeded in what we wanted to do. Our speaking out against this in a unified voice accomplished the mission, and Florida will not be included. So, this is something that I'm very proud about, the way that we brought that to fruition in this unified voice. Now, on the foreign policy front, I just want to touch on one more thing that I and many of you have been following, and that is the protests that we've been seeing in Iran for the first time since 2009. Iranians from all ages and economic classes, they are coming together against their corrupt and oppressive regime, against its costly and dangerous spending of hundreds of millions of dollars each year on terrorist groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, or rather Hezbollah and Hamas, Hezbollah, and oppressive regimes abroad, all while suppressing basic human rights at home, such as jailing and even murdering protesters in the name of just a few. So this week, the House passed a resolution almost unanimously voicing our overwhelming support for the peaceful protesters in Iran and sending a very clear message to Iran that we strongly condemn their brutal human rights abuses. And finally, I want to update you on some exciting news related to tax reform. Since that tax bill that we voted on just before the new year passed, we've heard from more than 150 businesses who have come out and said that they will be giving their employees raises and bonuses as a result of the tax bill, the tax cuts passing. Companies like American Airlines, who we have many flight attendants, pilots, living within our district, who are giving all of their employees a $1,000 bonus. Also AT&T, who is not only giving bonuses to more than 200,000 employees, including every single one of their union represented workers, but is making an additional $1 billion investment in the United States that's going to increase jobs. We've heard from Bank of America, who's giving an additional bonus to every single one of their employees that makes less than $150,000 per year. Comcast, who will give more than 100,000 employees $1,000 bonuses each, plus to invest $50 billion over the next 5 years to create more U.S. jobs. All of this is on top of the increase in the paychecks people will see as soon as next month as a result of the IRS withholding less of their taxes, because you're going to be paying less taxes. This is one of the greatest things that we could have done for every single American, and I couldn't be more proud about all of this. It's on top of the increase in the child tax credit from $1,000 to $2,000 per child that families will see when they file their 2018 taxes. So if you have one child, you're going to see now $2,000 in child tax credit. If you have two children, that's going to double. You're going to see $4,000 in child tax credit. If you have three children, you're going to see $6,000 in child tax credit. This is very, very big for every one of you families out there. there. All of this is on top of the nearly doubled standard deduction that will make it simpler and easier to file your taxes. As I've been beating the drum about this, telling people that literally 70% of you who file taxes within the 18th Congressional District, 70% of you take the standard deduction. That is by the IRS's own numbers, and that's going to be able to move up to more like 90% of people within our district taking the standard deduction and taking much more of a standard deduction. It's incredible. And literally, I've had many small business owners telling me that they are hiring more people, they are giving more raises and investing in more equipment. I know many people across the district are very excited about all of this, but if you're apprehensive or you're unsure, I would encourage you to reach out to our office. Bring us your pay stub and your pay stubs from 2017, and we would be happy to talk with you about the bill and how it will affect your bottom line or your small business as we move through 2018, because the average family in our district is going to see more than $2,000 put back into their paycheck this coming year, and that's before we take into account the bonuses and the raises that all of these companies are given. So that is my encouragement to you. If you have something positive to say about tax reform, please absolutely let us know. Let us know how you're going to see more in your paycheck. Let us know, what it is that's going on in that front. But absolutely, if you have questions or if you don't know how these tax cuts are going to affect you or you're apprehensive about it, please call our office, set up an appointment with us. Let us know. We will take the time to meet with you, and we will absolutely walk you through how this is going to affect your taxes. If you're a senior and you're on Social Security and you want to know how this is going to affect you keeping more at home instead of seeing more of your dollars go to Washington, D.C., give us a call, set up a meeting with our office, and we will talk to you about how you're going to keep more of that money in your pocket, more of that fixed income. Let us know. We'll have the conversation with you. More than happy to talk to you about it. That's my favorite thing about doing this job, is all the opportunity that I get to meet with you all each and every week whenever I'm back home. So as always, it is an honor to represent you here in Congress. There's not one moment that I take it lightly. And so in that, I wish you all the best weekend. I wish you all the best week to follow. And I'll just reiterate, as we're in the early part of 2018 here, I hope 2018 is the best year of your life to date. And I'll look forward to seeing you all around home.